My sister-in-law struck me across the face during my own anniversary meal, simply because I put food on my plate before hers. You need to remember your place in this family, she declared while my children watched and my husband kept his eyes fixed on his plate. For 11 years, I had absorbed every insult just to preserve harmony. That evening, harmony finally cost more than I was willing to pay. I set down my fork, wiped my hands on the napkin I had pressed that morning, and struck her back. Then I turned to my husband. A man who sits silently while his wife is degraded no longer deserves to remain her husband. I took my 7-year-old daughter Nora by one hand and my 5-year-old son Eli by the other. We walked out of the house I had largely paid for while his relatives sat motionless around my table. I drove directly to my parents' house. My mother opened the door, noticed the red mark on my cheek, and drew us inside without a single question. For the first time in years, I slept without rehearsing the next day's apology. My husband Daniel telephoned nonstop. When I finally answered 3 days later, he pleaded with me to return. My sister will say she's sorry, he assured me. The children need both of us. How many times did you watch them belittle me and remain silent? His silence answered for him. I filed for divorce 11 days later. My lawyer, Mara Collins, requested every financial record. I braced for fights over custody and the house. I never expected theft. Across 4 years, Daniel had moved almost $60,000 from our joint account to his sister Vanessa, whose struggling catering business stayed afloat only through family bailouts. Most of that money had come from my interior design earnings. He labeled the transfers loans, though not a single repayment ever arrived. Then Mara uncovered something worse. 18 months earlier, someone had submitted a quitclaim form that tried to hand 10% of our home to Daniel's mother, Celeste. My signature sat at the bottom. I had never written it. A handwriting expert compared the paper with my mortgage documents and found uneven pressure, unnatural lifts of the pen, and lines that had clearly been traced. The county office had already marked the filing and put it on hold because the required verification never came. The transfer failed, yet the attempt itself was genuine. The house had been bought with help from my father. I had financed every renovation. Daniel's family had ridiculed my income while quietly trying to claim it as their own. When confronted, Daniel confessed to the secret transfers but insisted he knew nothing about the forged deed. I no longer cared which betrayal he regarded as tolerable. The inquiry revealed a pattern. Years before, Celeste had tried a similar property maneuver during a quarrel with her late husband's sister. A former worker at Vanessa's firm also supplied padded invoices, one of them from my anniversary dinner. Without realizing it, I had paid extra money that Vanessa funneled into her business. The divorce proceeded more swiftly than the criminal inquiry. My calendars, messages, and school files proved I had managed almost every appointment, illness, meeting, and crisis involving the children. I was awarded primary custody. Daniel received scheduled visits, and in order to account fully for the missing funds, Nora blamed herself at first. One night she asked whether helping herself before Aunt Vanessa had started everything. I cupped her face gently. This was never about the food. It was about someone who needed others to feel diminished. You did nothing wrong. Eli only wondered when he would have his own room again. You will, I promised, and it will be quiet. Nora joined a soccer team. Eli filled his room with dinosaurs, and our days turned ordinary once more. I learned that ordinary felt miraculous when no one insisted that fear was the price of peace. Within a year, Vanessa's company folded. Daniel agreed to repay the diverted money in installments rather than face a longer fraud case. Celeste's claim disappeared from the county records, returning the house entirely to me. The district attorney kept reviewing the forgery at a deliberate pace, exactly as Mara had predicted. 2 years after the dinner, Daniel asked to meet before the divorce became final. He looked worn out. I should have chosen you every single time, he said. I am sorry. Once those words might have rescued our marriage, now they only proved why it had ended. I believe you regret losing me, I answered. That is not the same as shielding me when I was still yours to shield. The divorce was finalized on a gray Tuesday. I walked out holding Nora's and Eli's hands just as I had 2 years earlier. This time I was not fleeing, I was going home. My business partner hosted dinner that weekend. The table was packed, the chairs did not match, and everyone laughed too loudly. Without thinking, I served myself first. No one objected. My mother met my eyes and smiled. I finally understood that belonging is not earned by tolerating humiliation. Love does not demand silence, and family does not give anyone the right to own your dignity. For years, I had waited at the margin of someone else's table for leftovers of respect. Now I sat at the head of my own.